So I love me some Barack Obama, and I still do to this day. Now, when we talk about
Trump, I got back on you though, Bob. I can't let you get off that easy.
Come on. When you're talking about Trump, you said he's a racist, but a breath of fresh air. Do you remember saying that?
Absolutely.
Can you tell me what you mean by that when you say that Trump is a breath of fresh air? What is that?
And when I said Trump was a breath of fresh air, I wasn't speaking of my own personal sentiment of President Trump, because I don't support him. Neither President Biden. Neither option is feasible for me. So I won't for either of them. I may be voting for one of my ancestors, if you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
For a lot of American Africans and for a whole lot of Caucasians, Donald Trump is a breath of fresh air. When you compare him to President Barack Obama was very calculated with everything he said. He rarely off the cuff. He often seemed as if he rehearsed everything he said publicly. He was extremely careful with his words. Very, very conscious of what he said, which is a good thing. But take it far, people may think that you're not being genuine. Even though Donald Trump came off, in many people's opinions, like an idiot, he spoke from, and a lot of people felt that they would rather have, someone who's inexperienced but completely genuine in front of the camera, as opposed to someone who's very experienced and not so genuine in front of. I always say that.
Wait. Your words are breaking up. All your words break up. You said I always say.
Barack Obama made Donald Trump necessary.
Wow. Go ahead.
Donald Trump never becomes president. Donald Trump was part of the backlash against Black president in the first place, and Donald Trump was an untitled voice that a lot of Americans had craved to have after years of Obama carefully worded public positions.
Okay, let me say this. I don't think he made them necessary. I don't agree with that. I think he made it impossible. In fact, I think when he whooped his ass at that correspondence dinner, the president's correspondence dinner, I think that was the key that kicked it all off. I think he made that man so mad when he put up all this stuff about him being a birther and made fun of him like that, that the people who have the powers, the people who pull the strings for this marionette puppet was like, oh, this will be the perfect stooge to put up as our front, because he will battle all these things that we believe in. And Trump being, I think, the perfect fool, he saw an opening. Anytime he saw an opening, because I don't think he never got the respect that he always wanted, that his daddy never gave him and the industry never gave him. He was always just a puppet boy who daddy gave him money, and so he could, boast that he's doing this and that, but never had been accepted into the high society. This gets him in that door, and what Barack did to him that night was just beautifully brutal, and I almost could have guessed that this fool would run after that. But I don't know about necessary as much as I would say it made it possible. It made other white folks say, oh, we may have our leader here. We may, because I'm telling you, he was just inches. When he threw his fist up and get shot in the air, he was just inches from going Sieg Heil, and I okay. But we can agree.
Add to Barack Obama was as popular as the media made him, and is not as unpopular as the media attempted to make him. President Obama's victory over Senator McCain during the first race. It may have been a little wider during the second, but during the popular vote, he only him by about 3 million popular votes, which would be the size of a small American state. The victory of people was not as wide as the media made it appear. And the same thing for President Trump. In the popularity polls amongst the American public, they made it appear that he was popular than he actually was. And a lot of that has to do with, as you mentioned earlier, the power structure, the hidden government, and who they actually needed to ascend to that office. Barack Obama was necessary because of the mistakes that President George Bush made. George Bush destroyed America's relationship with Africa. George Bush destroyed that relationship. Barack Obama was necessary because they needed someone who could go back into the continent and heal those relationships with African leaders to make African resources safe for exploitation from America again. Keep in mind, the United States government, although it is the United States people, the American people, although a small percentage of the global population, consumes no less than 25% of the resources that come out of Africa. So America is extremely dependent on African resources, and that is why Barack Obama had to be made president. There was another black U.S. congressman, I think his last name is Ford, if memory serves me correctly. He was also a fair-skinned brother with green eyes. They were considering him as well, but they felt Barack Obama would have been the safer of the two picks because he was not a direct descendant of the enslaved African. And so the power structure felt that he would not have the loyalty to Black America that someone else would have had they been a descendant of an enslaved African. And the other Obama was made president is because he had the psychosexual agenda against Black public school students in the interest of population control. So they needed Barack Obama to get Black America to accept childhood transgenderism, to accept childhood LGBTQism. And so Barack Obama is the first president in American history to not only approve same-sex relationship, but approve the teaching of same-sex relationships to our children in public schools. So he became very, very necessary. And Donald Trump is necessary because, as you mentioned already, Baba, he is a warmonger. Donald Trump is willing to go to war. And as a business, he is very much about money over the best interests of the American people. So Donald Trump became necessary for corporate reasons and for military reasons. Presidents are always chosen for a domestic reason and an international reason.
Here's what I'm gonna have you think about: Black Trumpers and Black Uncle Toms in general. Hey man, we'll go back to the Raggedy Farm because we want you here. So I love me some Barack Obama, and I still do to this day. Now, when we talk about
Trump, I got back on you though, Bob. I can't let you get off that easy.
Come on.
Respectfully, Baba, here's my Barack Obama supporters.
Okay.
Take the emotionality out. And when Black symbolism out of the Obama administration. If one solid achievement or advancement that Barack Obama championed for the American African people. I can give you 3 laws he passed. I can give you laws he passed for immigrants. I can give you laws he passed for women. Can you give me one thing he did for the American African people? Nothing. Barack Obama did nothing.
I wish I was more stacked up with my knowledge on that, but that's absolutely that's patently false. I don't agree with that at all. Okay, go ahead, keep going.
It was empty symbolism, and here's the biggest problem. And this is not Obama's fault. I want to be clear. This is on us.
Okay.
To his credit, President Obama never said he would do a single thing for Black people. To his credit. Therefore, I have to fault us as a community for acting like Barack Obama was some kind of a solution, because in doing that, we bought the American power structure 8 years of time to reorganize, remobilize, and re-energize. So as I always say, Barack Obama rocked us to sleep, and Donald Trump was the alarm bell that woke us up.
Okay, here's a couple of things he's done. First of all, President Barack Obama made 62 lifetime appointments of African Americans to serve on a federal bench. First of all, this includes 9 African American circuit court judges.
That's token. That's not changing for the people. That's tokenism.
But he did that though, right? You call it tokenism, but he did do that, right?
Tokens, don't give me tokens now.
Okay. In foreign policy, he increased the U.S. troops levels in Afghanistan, reduced nuclear weapons in the United States.
That is not affecting Black America, Baba.
So when we go to war, You think they just gonna kill the white people, or they gonna kill the niggas too? When we go to war, you know the first people to go in is gonna be the minorities. We're the first ones. There ain't no politicians' kids going. So if we're staying out of war, that doesn't help the black people.
Oh my goodness. You're giving me at best, Baba, secondary, indirect issues that could impact Black America. But my challenge to that would be homosexuals didn't have to receive secondary gain. Immigrants didn't have to receive secondary gain. White women didn't receive secondary gain. President Obama targeted them directly, just like President Biden. And we can even zero out of President Obama alone, because I know a lot of your viewers, because of their emotional attachment to him, can't really participate in a non-emotional political assessment of Barack Obama's lack of support for Black America. But if we just look at the Democratic Party, let's just go from Clinton's 8 years and Obama's 8 years and Biden's 4 years. We struggled more, and I am no Republican supporter.
Okay.
Very clear. I don't support either plantation, but we struggled more under the Democrats than we did under the Republicans. It was the Democrats who criminalized child support. It was the Democrats who kicked millions of Black women with children off of welfare. It was the Democrats who gave us the crime bill. It was the Democrats who took Black people's civil rights gains that our ancestors fought for and gave them to the homosexuals and immigrants. It was the Democrats who gave us the anti-Asian hate crime bill and anti-transgender crime bill and gave Black people absolutely nothing. All of this took place under the Democrats. We struggled more under the blue than we have under the red.
Well, I don't know about the blue or the red. I know I've always voted Democratic, but are you telling me that Trump is doing good stuff for Black people?
No. Here's what I'm saying. Again, for neither party.
Neither party.
I don't. What I'm saying is we are.
Wait, say it again. It went out.
I got you, Baba. We are making a mistake as a people by self with either party in a permanent fashion. We have been Democrat since FDR 1933. This is 1924. So 9 years, Baba, we would have voted overwhelmingly Democrat for an entire century. And my question is, what has the Democratic Party done for the American African people to justify 100 years of loyalty? When you align yourself with people who don't do anything, you're asking for exploitation and abuse. And when you don't have a conversation with the people in the other party sitting across the hall, they won't take it seriously either, because everybody knows Black America is going to vote Democrat because the Black bourgeoisie has brainwashed them into thinking that the Democrats are always on their side, and not. We have to get out the dichotomy, Baba Mike. Jump this Democrat and Republican tug of war. That's not our fight. Our fight is for our empowerment. So let's have a conversation with Joe Biden. Let's have a conversation with Donald Trump. And let's say, what are you willing to give us for our collective Black vote? We never do that. We never sit down with them to discuss our concerns before we run out and vote with no promises, no pledges, no concessions, and we wonder why we get nothing in return. You don't engage in politics in that manner. You get agreements up front. But in order to get agreements up front, you got to do two things, Baba Mike. One, organize the Black vote. The Black vote is disorganized, Baba Mike.
Okay.
Nobody organized. Why doesn't the Black church want a Black organized vote? Why doesn't our Black elected officials want to organize a Black vote? Why doesn't the Democratic Party want to organize Black vote? Why doesn't the Republican Party want to organize Black vote? You know why, Baba Mike? If we
don't want the Black vote.
We hold people accountable. An organized Black vote can make the governor do what he don't want to do. An organized Black vote make the president do what he doesn't want to do. This is why they always tell us, just go vote. Why they never say organize it first? Just go vote. Because if you just go vote, Baba Mike, you can't.
So
trapped into voting as a disorganized people.
But Baba Umar, so they're not organizing white folks. White folks aren't organizing and being told what they're gonna get in return. How come we?
Oh, yes, they are.
Oh, they are? Tell me, give me an example. Tell me how.
Action committees, Baba. They have lobbyists and they have political action committees who go to Congress and go to the Democratic National Committee and the Republican National Committee with money, and they say, how you think the homosexuals got so much power? They went with their lobbyists and their political. This is what the pharmaceutical industry does. This is what the agricultural industry does. This is what the European Jews do. It's what Latinos do. It's what feminists do. They organize their votes and they organize their money and they send their lobbyists and their political action committees to Washington, D.C. Baba Mike, where is our political action committee to improve the schools? Where is our committee for passing immigration? Where is our action committee against gentrification? Where's our political action committee against police genocide? Where's our political action committee against economic apartheid? Baba Mike, all the money we have. We are a $2 trillion people, Baba Mike. It makes no sense for us to be politically disorganized. We should be leveraging our money and weaponizing our influence to make change in Washington, D.C. that all Black people can benefit from, not just the Black bourgeoisies.
So, but is that possible?
Yes.
How do we go about that? Because we've been here all this time and no one's put that together. How do we go about it?
Here's a big issue we have, Baba Mike, and I'm sure you know.
Okay. Wait, say that again, because we losing your sound a lot. So say it again.
Let me try that Wi-Fi one more time.
Try that Wi-Fi one more time.
Let me try that one more time. Let me try that one more time. I can still speak though, Baba, if you can hear me.
I can still hear you. And I'm gonna bring folks in about 5 minutes. So, but
no problem, Baba Mike. Let me say this, Baba Mike. We approach our politics the same way that we approach our religion. And what I mean by that, Baba Mike, we vote for people because we like them. We don't vote for people based on policy. We vote for people on how they talk. That's what you do in church. You choose your church because you like the pastor. You choose your church because you like the sermons that the pastor gives. You like the way he presents and the way he articulates. That's okay for religion, Baba Mike. It's not okay for politics. We on Wi-Fi now. How am I sounding now, Elder? Am I better?
I'm hearing you clear right now. But doesn't everybody choose that way?
No, sir. Serious people, when the Asians decide who they're going to vote for, they looking at X's and O's. What am I getting? When the homosexual community decides who they're going to vote for, they're looking at X's and O's. What am I going to get for my vote? When European Jews, when Arabs, when Italians, when Irish.
But I still remember that, though, when I was coming up, the Democrats, but that's all I knew because we were Black. And they always had all these different layers of people who would get the vote out. So they had the aldermen, they had the local people who had groups of people. All they did all day long was figure out how to get the Black vote. All that's gone.
Committee though, Baba Mike, that's the Democratic committee. I'm speaking of how ethnic groups use their money and their power on election day. We're the only ethnic group who does not organize, fight, and politically to make sure they gain something from their vote. That's why our vote is taken for granted, Baba Mike. That's why we have done worse under Black elected officials since Dr. King's assassination. Then it's not because every Black is a sellout. It's because they can only fight for us if we leverage our money and our votes to protect them, which we never do. So the average Black elected official is out there by themselves because although we voted them into office, we didn't leverage our money to keep them economically independent. Remember, in a capitalist society are the politicians themselves.
How many people around here really think that this is a democracy?
It's not a democracy.
It's not a democracy. And people keep on saying, we got to keep our democracy strong. This is not a democracy.
First,
It's a republic.
Capitalism and democracy cannot coexist. That is the fundamental contradiction of American society. Capitalism is the ownership of the essential means of production by a few people. By you can't have the top 1% of America owning more wealth than the bottom 99. Let me say that again. The top 1% of Americans own more wealth than the bottom 99%. There's no way you can have that type of distribution of power and then say everybody has equal say. It's impossible. We can't all have equal say when we're working enslaving.
That's true. The deck was stacked like that from the very beginning. And you're right, but let me ask you this then. Are we stuck then, and this is my last question before we go to break and bring people in, are we stuck with voting for the lesser evil? Because neither one of them seem like they're going to bring anything that's going to help our people.
That's because we haven't held them accountable, which we can only do with organization and solidarity. So are we stuck because we waited so late? Kind of. But my question is, are we going to learn from this? Because this ain't the first presidential election, and it ain't the last one either. So the question is, are we going to learn from this so we can do something different?
It could be the last, though. I mean, the way Trump is moving, he's turning it into a dictatorship. When you break our Trump is doing what?
He's the face, but he's not the system. So we got to make sure we don't reduce this to Trump. He's the face. Joe Biden is the face on the machine. They are not the machine.
I like that. I like looking at that. But here's a guy who has stacked the Supreme Court because he put the three folks in to help him so that when he goes to Supreme Court, he can get whatever he wants. Supreme Court has come out and said that this man, if you're president, you can get away with anything as long as you say that it comes under your presidential realm. Huh? Yeah, and the worst thing about complete immunity, first thing he's talking about is complete immunity for police. The way police killing niggas now, and without immunity, imagine what bloodshed that would be. And last thought I'm gonna give you, just think about these, because we coming right back with a couple of folks who are gonna speak with us. I invited others, but they got scared, I guess. The last thing I was gonna ask you about was police complete immunity. Who's brainwashed the most? Is it black people or white people or the citizenry in whole? You know, because I see people say, man, I want Trump, man. I made more money with Trump. But Trump, to me, is like the worst piece of mess in the world. And yet, they're trying to put 10 commandments back in school. This guy broke all 10 of them. I mean, it's like it doesn't matter what he says. If he can get away with this and become president again, he can make himself president emeritus. He can be president for life. You know, and there may never be another president if he gets this kind of power.
And I agree with you there, Baba, but we also got to keep in mind,
okay,
change faces all they want, but they will never change policy. And we have to make sure we don't get face and the personality. Focus on the policy. What is policy? Policy is more important than personalities. Personalities change. Policies can stay the same forever.